Hello guys, welcome to Coding Gambit. Today we are seeing round 10 of Norway Chess 2026. The round 10 is between Magnus Carlsen and Gukesh. Let us see the game, how the game starts, okay, and how the game ends. The game starts with e4, the Magnus starts with e4 and c6. This is we known as Caro-Kann defense, okay, c4, d5. Can you guess the variation of Caro-Kann? This is known as the accelerated pawn attack. Okay. Here E into d5, C into d5. Okay. Again C into d5. The development knight of 6, knight c3. Knight takes the d5 pawn. Knight development, knight f3, knight c6. These all are standard moves. Bishop b5, pinning the knight. e6, supporting the knight if the queen moves to b6 or c7. Castle, bishop e7, d4, castle, bringing the rook e1, bishop d7, okay, bishop d3, rook c8, developing the pieces, knight into d5, e into d5, knight e5, bishop, bishop f6, bishop f4, g6, giving space for the bishop because the bishop has a dark square, bishop having no squares. So g6 would be better. Queen b3, the b7 pawn is not having any support, so trying to attack the b7 and d5. So knight a5, queen b4, bishop e6, rook a d1, keeping the rook on 5 where the queen has having the same 5. Rook e8, h3. Here also the bishop would be good on h22, b8 diagonal. So bishop e7, attacking the queen, queen e4, queen b6, attacking the b2 pawn, knight d7, a small inaccuracy move from the Magnus Carlsen, bishop into d7, and queen into d7. Here we can see the Magnus having the pair bishops and Gukesh having the bishop in the knight, knight c6, queen into d5, Magnus goes a pawn up, rook e d8, queen b5, trying to exchange the queens and going for the end game. Bishop f6, queen into b6, a into b6. These all are heavy moves because the pawn structure was now good for white and somewhat weaknesses are having. The rooks can come to here and it will be attack. Okay, the pawn structure will collapse. Bishop e4. If the knight moves, we can take the bishop pawn on b7. So bishop e4 is a good move. Rook into e4, exchanging the rooks. Here the rook was taken the rook. Now this is the mistake because it should be taken with the bishop, but Gukesh taken with the knight. From this, the game was turned around. Knight into d4 is a huge mistake. Bishop into b7, rook c2, bishop h6. Idea to play the e8. Okay, then knight in one is there. So knight e6, rook c1. Here also the Gukesh made a mistake. He don't want to exchange the rooks, but he exchanged the rooks. Rook into c1, bishop into c1. Now let's see the pieces how active the bishops and the according to my view, the bishops are more active, and the knight and bishop is somewhat lost. Okay, because a2 and b2 can be a passers in future. So knight c5, bishop d5, knight a4, attacking the b2 pawn, king f1, bringing the king, knight into b2, king into king e2, king f8, bringing the kings into the center and trying to play active moves, king f8, bishop e3, attacking the b6 pawn, king e7, king d2, knight a4 supporting the b6 pawn, king d3, bringing the close to that pawn, bishop e5, bishop b3, knight c5, king c4, f5. Can you observe the pawn? That here the advantage is better for the white. King b5, f4, bishop d2, king d7, king into b6. So the now see the pawn is up for the Magnus. Knight e4, bishop c1, knight into f2, bishop d5, bishop d4 check, king b5, g5, supporting the f4 pawn, king c4, bishop b6, bishop f3, knight h1. Now let us see the knight has no squares. Okay, if the knight on f2, then it should be go to here or here. It's almost a trap. Okay, the knight having no squares, and here. Okay, so that the white having a huge advantage. Knight 2 is fully passive. So knight h1, bishop d2, knight g3, a4, king c7, a5, attacking the bishop and trying to promote. See, the bishop is controlling this diagonal and the bishop is controlling this diagonal. The king cannot come to here, and it should be passed. Okay, bishop f2, king d5, h5, king c3. The king is far away from these pawns. Okay, see how far away. The king is close to the opponent pawns, Gukesh pawns. Okay, so the king marches to the Gukesh pawns, bishop f6, attacking the g5 pawn, g4, h into g4, h into g4, bishop into g4, knight f1, a6 check. If king takes this, okay, the bishop moves. Okay, check and attack. So a6, king a7, bishop e2 supporting the a6 pawn, knight d2, bishop d4, forcing to exchange, bishop into d4, king into d4, f3, bishop into f3. If knight takes this bishop, it's g into f3 simple. So the king takes a6, bishop d5, king b6, g4, knight f1, g5, king g3, king e5, king c7, g6, knight h5, bishop f3. And this move the Gukesh has to resign. There is nothing else to do. So in Norway Chess 2026, the Gukesh lost 2 games against the Magnus, and Magnus won 2 games against the Gukesh. So it's think like a revenge from 2025. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.